A little preview of what's on Cinema One and Only this week from March 13th to March 19th. It's number 13. Starts out with a relaxing music, followed by your weekly Leo King astrology report, a little song from Jay and Lynn Jean, guess who, and a couple of, what would we call those, drone videos with music. Followed by music, instrumentals, guitar instrumentals by Dan Holloway. Then a little spiritual time devoted to Gerald Clark. Some studies done in Sumerian text. And we are now up to tablet 13 in the Lost Book of Enki. If you would like to see the previous tablets, they're on my earlier playlist, 1 through 14. Music once again, music videos, keep up with the CBS Morning Show and the Saturday sessions. And then some of my favorite songs from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, whenever, even back into the 40s. '50s. Then we get into the silent movies. Betty Boop cartoon. News of the day, 1945. Previews. Captain America coming up, I think it starts this week. Some music from movies. This happens to be Dean Martin. Some have Jerry Lewis. A few previews. This is a special Little Rascal in color. Then we come to our first series. We're following Charlie Chan movies every week. And this week we've introduced Mr. Wong, played by Bela Lugosi, then by Boris Karloff. Previews for a new a new serial starting this week. Smiley Burnett radio show, lots of good music on this show. Sons of the Pioneers are on here, on this one and this one. And of course we have Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy, which leads us into a number of ventriloquist acts and Pat Paulson running for president, and Dean Martin's roast this week is of Don Rickles. Back to the Jack Benny TV show, radio show, his friend George Burns radio show. Then the Comic Weekly Man with Roy Rogers and Hopalong Cassidy and Flash Gordon from the Sunday newspaper. And then we get into the Cowboys with Hopalong Cassidy, Roy Rogers, Gene Autry, Wild Bill Elliott, some of their live shows, Tex Ritter, John Ritter's father, The Three Musketeers, Range Busters, another version of the same group. Then last week and the week before we had the Durango Kid. Continuing those series, there's quite a few Durango Kid movies. Another Comic Weekly man from the following year, 1952. Hopalong Cassidy, Roy Rogers, and Flash Gordon once again. And then we are into week number 13 with Flash Gordon Radio Show. And I think we repeat 1, 2, and 3 on this one because we have Chapter 1 starting this week of Flash Gordon, the first serial from 1936. And we also have a repeat of that by a different version, followed by Chapter 1, 2, and 3 of Rocky Jones, Space Ranger. And once again we have The Lost Planet, a lost serial, which at one time we had all 12 chapters and they were taken down for some reason. And I can't find them, but I am still looking. Followed by Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. This is a radio show version. We don't have a TV show version this week. Same with Space Patrol, radio shows, not TV. And this is a radio show from Captain Midnight. Howdy Doody, Saturday morning show from 1949. Followed by, I think this is Chapter 1 of a either 11 chapter or 13 chapter. I think it was 11 chapters of of Mysterious Island, 1951. And then we go to the New Adventures of Tarzan, Chapter 12. I think that completes that serial. And we have a radio show from April 10th, 1952. Then the Tarzan and the Fires of Tor. The Black Hood. These are all radio shows. Then we get into the Superman series. This is from the 1940s Superman radio show. And then we have clips from the Superman serial. One of the last of the animated Fleischer cartoons from 1942. And this is from the 70s, the TV Flash, Green Lantern, Hawkman, Atom, Justice League, Teen Titans. Those are all animated shorts, about 5 minutes each. Batman trailer for the serial from the 1940s, and we have this week number 2 episode of Prince Namor from the 1966 TV series, and Captain America number 1. Chapter 1, the serial Captain America. Then we get into the Lone Ranger. Color versions and on the radio. Another Comic Weekly man from 1953, third year. Again. Lone Ranger, Green Hornet. And then we get into the TV show section. I Remember Mama. Previews of some of the 1990 TV shows. This is a weekly feature. Mickey Rooney, Hey Mulligan, up to episode 6. Amos and Andy TV show, Topper TV show. I Led 3 Lives. That's a show about an spy from, well, you watch it, you'll see. He was a counter spy as well as a spy. Then we have Disneyland, the Swamp Fox. It's the third week we've had the Swamp Fox. And then we have a series of serials starting this week, Spy Smasher. And the James Brothers of Missouri and Jesse James Rides Again. These two are brand new this week. Ending up the Dick Tracy serial. We have a Silent R gang that leads us into the Silent Cleopatra, which is leading us into the spiritual section as far as old movies about ancient heroes like Cleopatra, Helen of Troy, Hercules, Hannibal. Oh, and we start the Book of Mormon next week. And this is a preview. And we're continuing for the second week a rare version of the Jesus movie this was filmed in Israel, and all the words spoken in this movie are directly from the Gospel of Luke. A rare version. Very good. We'll probably have it on next week again because it's 4 hours long. It takes a long time to. But once you've seen it, it's like reading the whole book in the New Testament. And then we have part one of a 4-part The Day Christ Died. It was a TV series that was on at Easter time. Then we get into the radio shows, Our Miss Brooks for about an hour and a half. And we have no Bowery Boys or Dead End Kids this week. So we have a radio show, Whatever Became of the Dead End Kids. And we have a Gunsmoke, Lux Radio Theater, Working on the Railroad, Lakeland. And that's about it. The rest are family albums that we have. On the weekend, we are featuring, whoa, let me move this back. There. On the weekend, we are featuring Peter Pan, the X-Men, the original Superman, and Rogue One out of the Star Wars series. And weekly, let's see if we can get this down. Weekly, we are watching Smallville, Lois and Clark, the TV Adventures of Superman, and the TV series Batman. Yeah, that's about it from the treehouse. From the treehouse, this would be Mr. J saying we'll see you next week.